Yeah, very good morning to all of you. I think are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I think last class we discussed this problem. Then one more problem in the quarter joint we discussed today. Then we move to the next content knuckle joint. Okay, knuckle joint also temporary joint. This problem we already discussed in the last class. This is the next problem. This is also somewhat different problem. It's not like earlier problem. Okay, see here, two rods made of plain carbon steel, 40C8. The material identification they have given 40C8. I mean that is yield strength of the material is 380 Newton per mm squared. 380 Newton per mm squared. Okay. Now, are to be connected by means of the quarter joint, the diameter of each rod, left side rod, it will be connected with the spigot end. The right side rod, spigot end, sorry, right side rod connected with the spigot end, left side rod connected with the socket end. It's a 50 diameter. And the quarter is made from the steel plate, 15 thickness. Quarter thickness has been given. Calculate the dimensions of the socket and making the following assumptions. There we are considering two assumptions. The first assumption, the yield strength in compression or is twice the yield strength, twice the tensile strength. Okay, this is nothing but SYT. SYC compressive strength. Here the compressive strength SYC is equal to twice the SYT. The second assumption they have given the yield strength in shear 50% of the tensile strength. Even if they are not given, we are going to consider like this. Okay. Now the factor of safety they are given here. Factor of safety is 6. Now this is the given data what we discussed. SYT 380 Newton per mm square. This is the thickness. This is the factor of safety. This is the diameter of the rod in both ends. Okay. Now permissible stresses. What is the permissible stresses? These are the permissible stresses because this factor of safety is given, then divided by, yield strength divided by factor of safety. Okay, permissible stresses for sigma compressive permissible stress is 126.67 Newton per mm square. Permissible shear stress is, 0.5 times of SYT divided by FOS, factor of safety, then 31.67 Newton per mm square. And the tensile strength is given already, yield strength, then 380 divided by 63.33 Newton per mm square. Because here I am telling the basic things because even while correcting the papers, many students have done a mistake, even how to find the permissible stresses. There are few students, I observed that. This is very basic. Okay, don't do the same mistake in the end sum. Okay, now load acting on the self. Now this is the tensile load acting on the rod. Then they have given the diameter. They already given the diameter of the rod, already given 50 mm. Then how much load is acting in the quarter joint, we can find it out using this relation. Okay. And the second thing is dimensions of our aim is to find the dimensions of the socket, right? Now this is the socket inside diameter. D2 is the inside diameter. Okay. Now what is this? This is the formula for tensile load acting in the socket. Tensile load acting in the socket, I think you might have been gone through the table I have clearly given. This is the tensile load acting on the socket. Where it is, I show you this anyway. I put it a figure here. Tensile load acting on the socket. I see the first tensile load. Okay, no, this is the here equation 4.5b. Anyway, I will show you this tensile load inside the diameter d2 pi by 4 d square d2 square minus dt. Here socket, this is socket. 1 minute please. Sorry, this is a spigot. This is spigot only. This is spigot. Okay, I come to this switch figure. I added both figure. This is one figure. Yeah, here 4.13a here. This here. See here. This is the spigot and the tensile load. Where is the tensile load acting? This is, we already discussed. You go back earlier video, you can get it. For recollecting the information, I have put this figure. This is a tensile load acting in this spigot end. Now, what is this area? Pi by 4 d2 squared minus dt. This area is this slot is given for the inserting the quarter. Hence, I mean d2 minus d. From these relations, we know already load. Then we able to find out. We be able to find out what is diameter d2. Diameter d2. I mean diameter d2 is a spigot diameter. Then we able to find out this spigot diameter. Okay. I mean this is the quadratic equation. Then if you solve this, we are going to get 65 mm. And I come to the outside diameter of this socket. Outside diameter of the socket here. Here also the socket is subjected into tensile load. The socket is subjected into tensile load. See here, this is the figure also I put it here. I mean sigma t is equal to P by pi by 4 d1 squared minus d2 squared minus d1 minus d2. I mean I show you the figure, the socket, the figure 414. Here I added, I think so, yeah. 414 here. This is a tensile stress acting in this socket. This region. I mean, this is the region. From the side view, you can see this. This is the region. Now, pi by 4 d1 squared minus d2 squared minus d1 minus d2 into t. This area we have to subtract. Okay, then that is the tensile stress acting in the socket end. Okay, now I come to this socket end. Now, from this relation, we are able to find out the d1. We already know thickness is given 15 mm. Thickness is given. d2 already we have found the d2 earlier step. Only d1 is we do not know that. Then d1 we are able to find out from these relations. Okay, this is the equation we already discussed. This is the tensile load acting in the socket end. Okay, now that we have found it out. We have found that diameter d1 is equal to 85 mm. Okay, now I come to the diameter of the socket collar d4. Socket collar d4. Here also this is socket collar is subjected into crushing stress. Crushing stress. Crushing stress. Socket collar. This is the same figure. I come to the same figure 4.24, I think. Yeah, crushing failure of the socket descent. Crushing failure. I come to the figure 4.14c, where it is. Yeah, here. This is. Crushing going to happen this region. Crushing is going to happen this region. In 3D view, I tell you here. 3D view. See here, clearly I can tell this is crushing going to happen inside this slot. Inside the slot, crushing going to happen due to compressive stress. Because the equilibrium diagram force, the force is acting like this on this region. See, I put clearly, this is the region going to have crushing. This is the region. Okay, now that region we are going to, now we are considering the total diameter is d2, d4. This is a collar of the socket, and our d2 already we know. This is a d2, this dimension d2, this is a d4, right? Now this is what is the area? d4 minus d2 into t. d4 minus d2 into t. Okay. d4 minus d2 into t. Then we already know d2. So we already know that d2. But our intention is to find out the D4. Then D4 we can find out. Sigma C we already know from this here. I mean, permissible crushing stress is 126.6 Newton per mm square. Then we are able to find out the diameter of the socket collar. Then what is the dimensions of A and C? What is the dimensions of A and C? Because some students maybe forgot. That's what I put this figure always now. What is A and C? A is here. See here, this region. This is the region A. Yeah, in the earlier figure it is clearly mentioned. Yeah, A is, that is A. See here, A. A. C is what? C is now thickness of the, C is thickness of the collar. C is the thickness of the collar, this one. Okay. Now this is the, in the collar, I mean dimensions of A and C we would like to find out. Now what is the shear? Shear is acting in the collar, right? Tau equal to P by 2d2 into A. D2 into A. I mean D2 into A. See here, this is a shear. Shear is acting. Where is this equations? We already discussed. I mean P by 2 D2 into T. D2 into A. D2 into A here. This one. Sorry. Here. D2 into A here. Yeah, this figure. Listen, this figure. This one. This is a two-side is here. Two-side is here. That's what P by 2 into D2. Because this region, this slot, when the key is inserting, quarter is inserted, then 2 D2, the diameter D2 into A. This is a tau in this figure 10. Okay. From this relation, we are able to find out what is this A. What is this A? Then similarly, we can find out the C also. C is also, shear failure of the socket 10. Shear failure of the socket 10. I come to that later. Now, this relation we are able to find out A. What is the dimensions of A? What is this? Is from shear from socket. This is shear from the socket. Sorry, spigot. This is from socket. Shear from socket. This one. P by tau is equal to P by D4 minus D2 into tau. D4 minus D2 into tau. Then from this we can find out what is C. What is C? So this is the, another problem. If you have any doubt, please go ahead. So now we are moving to the next content, knuckle joint. Any doubt in the earlier, quarter joint, please. Otherwise, we move to knuckle joint. See, knuckle joint also permanent, not a permanent joint. This is a temporary joint. In the knuckle joint, see here, there are knuckle joint. We are using lot of machine components. Knuckle joint we are using in the lot of machine components. Quarter joint we are using a lot of machine components. Universal joint we are using a lot of machine components. But these are under the category of temporary joint. Okay, in the temporary joints, see here, this is a knuckle joints. Knuckle joints can be used to connect the two rods. This is the rod 1. This is the rod 2. Connected two rods, which those axes are in coincide or little intersect, but it should be lie on the same plane. So this is a knuckle joint, and here the knuckle joint is used to transmit the axial and the tensile force. Knuckle joint can be used to transmit the axial and the tensile force. Okay. See, what are the components in the knuckle joint? This is, you can say this fork. You can say this fork, and already it is there. This is a fork. See here, this is the, you can say the two eye end or else you can say the fork end in this component. Okay, this is our component. I mean, one eye end, second component. Okay, this is the knuckle pin, third component. Okay, this is the collar and with the taper pin. This is the another component. Okay, so these components are using in the to preparing the knuckle joint. Okay, now where we are using, there are many places we are using, for example tractors and some cycle chains. We are using this knuckle joint, and I will show you some videos in this applications videos. Okay, the applications, I mean, joint between the tie bars and trusses, and we are using the joint between the links and suspension bridges, and this joint can be used to valve mechanism of a reciprocating engine we are using. Okay, and the joint between the links is, for example, bicycle chain, we are using this joint. Okay, and the construction is, just now we discussed, first we have to insert this eye end inside the fork in this slot. Okay, first we have to insert this eye end inside this, I mean, provision. Once this hole and this hole matching and orientation is properly the oriented direction, then we have to insert the pin in through the fork end and eye end. Then once we insert the pin through this hole, then we have to use the collar other end of the knuckle pin, then for locking the knuckle pin. Then the power can be transmitted, the axial tensile force can be transmitted easily. Okay, that is the procedure for how to assemble this knuckle joint. And the knuckle joint is very easy assemble and dismantle as compared to the quarter joint. Okay, quarter joint. But here, and I mean, whatever we discussed, earlier, that the quarter is passing through the socket and the spigot. Similarly, here we are using pin for holding these two, holding this eye end and fork in appropriate position. Okay, using the knuckle pin. Knuckle pin. Now the axial forces are acting in these two rods. To end of these two rods, axial forces are acting. This is axial force acting in the end. I mean, it may be a tensile, it may be a compressive, but axial force. Okay. Now this is the, here the fork and eye end are the connected with the rod A and B. We are considering in the later, when we are going to discuss the failure of the component. I mean, the failure of the study, it helps us to design our dimensions of the knuckle joint. Okay. Now see here, and here we are going to, this joint also called as the forked pin joint. This joint also called as that forked pin joint. Okay. Now I come to this video, you can understand some more applications. Why this is not running? Yeah. Are you able to see?
My name is Ariel, and I just started my first job as a project manager. When I was a student,
knuckle joint.
Yeah, guys,
Knuckle joint.
yeah, please, are you able to see this video?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Knuckle joint. Knuckle joint is used to connect two round rods whose axes intersect in the same plane. One rod end is made in the form of a fork. The other rod end is in the form of an eye. The eye end is assembled into the fork end and the holes are kept in alignment. The cylindrical pin that is used to fasten the fork end with the eye end is inserted into the hole. This pin has a taper hole at the lower end of the shank to carry the taper pin. A collar is placed at this end and the taper pin is driven to hold the collar with the cylindrical pin. The collar and taper pin prevents the cylindrical pin from getting removed out.
I think one more applications, I show you that. That is whatever I mean, earlier video you might have been seen how they are assembled and those things. Now I show you this application. It's not working. Able to see? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See this this machine is actually, this is a 1200 ton press machine. See here they are using knuckle joint. See here. There are a lot of applications. I will share you this link. Please go through that. You can get it more information about an application of knuckle joint. Okay. Now we enter into the more discussion about knuckle joint now. Okay. See, this is the knuckle joint, and this is eye end, fork end. This is a fork component. This is this is the eye end component connected to the rod. This is the rod. I mean, dimensions also I tell you that this is a dimension D. This is also same dimension D. Okay, this is the fork or two eye end. We can say that, we can call that the fork or two eye end. This is the pin. See here, this is the full constructional view of this sectional view of this knuckle joint. Now, I mean, this is the dimensions, very important. Now see this dimension. This is the rod dimension D. In the left and the right end of the rods, two rods have been used here. This is a diameter D. The tensile force acting in the rod P. Now this is the diameter D1. This is a diameter D1. This is the enlarged view of the enlarged section of the rod. And one thing I tell you, based on this diagram, don't confuse here. The rod going to be like this. You might have been seen that there are in the knuckle joint earlier video, there is looks like a hexagon shape. See here, this one. This is a rod D, capital D. This is the diameter D1, capital D1 we are considering. But based on this figure, you may not get it based on this figure. That's what I have shown that earlier figure. Okay. This is a rod enlarged diameter of the rod D1. This is a rod D, and this is the pin diameter D. Pin diameter, our knuckle pin diameter D. This is the pin head diameter D1. Pin head diameter D1. Pin head diameter D1. This is our I mean, fork diameter. I mean, and fork diameter. This region is a D naught. D naught. Now, this is our thickness of the eye end. Thickness of the eye end is D B. I mean, B is in that sense in three-dimensional view here. This one. Thickness is B. Okay. Now, yeah. Now that is thickness B. This is, I mean, A is nothing but the thickness of the fork end. Thickness of the fork end A. Now these are the dimensions to be required. Now here, I mean, here the split pin. You may call that split pin or collar, both are same. But we are using for locking the pin, using taper pin on the split pin or collar, in the collar. Okay, what are the, I mean, applications we had to discuss? What are the assumptions we consider in this knuckle joint? I mean that the rods are subjected to axial tensile or compressive force. The effect of stress concentration due to holes. Here the holes are there, right? This is the holes. The effect of stress concentration due to holes, we are assuming that neglected. Okay. And the force distributed uniformly. That is second condition. The force, most of the components distributed uniformly. These are the assumptions we are considering for designing the knuckle joint. Okay. Now come to this. We already discussed about this D1, D1, D naught. D naught and AB, which one is we missed it. I mean, X is the distance of the center of the fork from the, I mean, fork radius or from the eye end. I mean, this is nothing but here. This is the fork. I mean, this is eye end. Eye end to center of the fork. The distance is nothing but X, but this distance is X. That's all. So these are the information required while going for the design the knuckle joint. Now see here, in the earlier discussion, quarter joint, we used the, equilibrium force, right? For maintaining the equilibrium condition, then only we can perform the mechanical action, right? See, each component, first we consider the left side force acting on the fork end must be equal to the right side of force acting on the fork end. See here, this is a force here P, here is the P by 2, the summation of the force going to be 0. Our resultant force going to be 0. Hence, this is the, this is the equilibrium conditions of the fork component. Come to this is the eye end. The force acting on the rod right hand side in the P, the left hand side is a P. This is summation of going to be resultant force, reaction and reaction forces are equal. Hence, this is the mechanical equilibrium. Similarly, you consider the pin, the force, this force acting when inserted this pin insert the hole through fork and cutter, through fork and through fork and eye end, then this force acting in this region, then this force and this force acting in this region in opposite manner, then this summation going to be same. Then this mechanical equilibrium. When we assemble all together, then even when we assemble all together, the mechanically, you should follow the mechanical equilibrium condition. Hence, the summation of forces are going to be 0, or the actions and reactions should be same. Okay. Hence, first we have to understand this concept, mechanical equilibrium concept, through the free body diagram, then go for the design of the component. Okay, what is this? This is similar fashion what we discussed in the quarter joint. Here the two rods are subjected to tensile force P by pi by 4 d squared. From this we be able to find out the diameter of the rod. Okay. Sigma t is nothing but permissible tensile stress. Now I come to the shear failure in the pin. Shear failure. How many shear failures? 2 failure, right? Because when we inserted pin, knuckle pin through this, here this is the force. And see here, this is a clear view showing here. I come to here. Yeah, here one shear, another shear going to be this region. Then two shear is going to be presented in this joint. Hence, we are considering that P by pi by 4 d squared into T. Sorry, P by 2 into pi by 4 d squared. Sorry, okay. This is a tau. From this, I mean, we know the load, given load we know, and the tau shearing stress, permissible shear stress we know, then we are able to find out the diameter of the pin, diameter of the knuckle pin, we are able to find it out, okay. Now I come to the crushing failure of the pin in I. Crushing failure of the pin when the pin is engaged in with the I. One is IN, another is fork N. We are going to discuss each component, how the crushing failure is subjected into the pin. Now we are considering the pin is engaged with the I, or we engaged with the I region. Then based on that, we are interested in find out the crushing failure of the pin with I with IN. See here, figure 4.21. I think might have been connected. Yeah. See here, this is the, I mean, this is the region subjected into the I. Anyway, you can see here. I come to this figure, you can easily understand. This is the region. Now I tell you one more thing. Based on the free body diagram, I would like to convey some more information here. Then later it will be very useful to understand the bending moment calculations. Okay. Yeah, this figure. This is the region subjected to uniform load. But this is the region P by 2. P by 2 subjected to here, P by 2 here, P by 2 more magnitude, here less magnitude, here less magnitude, here less magnitude. It looks like uniformly varying load. Uniformly varying load here. Uniformly varying load. Similarly, this end near the fork, near the, I mean, near the in between the fork and here, this is the IN. The force is more, then this is less force, then less force, here less force. This is also in the uniformly varying load like that. This information required when we are going to for defining the bending stress in the pin, knuckle pin. Okay. Now I come to this. Yeah. Now I come to this next one, which one I told you that, yeah, here. I mean, this dimension also we know, right? This is now I consider L. This is L. This projection is, what is this projection area? L into D. L into D. Okay. Now this is L into D. Then, I mean, here, what is this? This is the crushing failure. When the load is acting, crushing failure due to this force. Crushing failure. Compressive load. Compressive load in this region. Hence, we are saying we are finding the crushing stress with respect to compressive force acting in this region. That region compressive load is nothing but P by LD. Okay. Now I come to the next, crushing failure of the pin fork. I mean, you may consider other thing here, P by BD. Sigma C is equal to P by BD. You may consider other way. See here. I come to here again. See here. Yeah. See, what is this region? This is already we discussed B. I mean, now if we consider B, then this is greater than B. This dimension is greater than B. But see here, this region I am saying this. Sorry, B only. This is a this is a D. This is D1. B is greater than D1. I mean, this region, sometime you can consider this region. This region is nothing but B into D. B into D. B into D for finding the crushing stress in the with I. Okay, B into D. now come to the crushing failure with crushing failure of pin. Crushing failure of pin in the fork region. In the fork region, where is the fork? Fork is here. This is the two regions of fork. Now, what is this region? What is this dimension? I think dimension is A. Now, how many shears are going to happen in the crushing region? I mean, with respect to fork, there is a 2A here. This side A crushing, that side A crushing. Then I can take 2A into D. 2A into D, because the pin is engaged in this region. Here compressive, here compressive. Okay. Then P by 2A by P by 2AD, crushing failure of the pin when we are considering the pin within the fork end. Okay, now P by 2AD. Now I come to the bending failure of the pin. Bending failure of the pin. See here, this similar calculation we discussed in the last class about the Carter joint. Now, what I told you earlier, please follow that. This uniformly distributed force here. This is uniformly varying load acting with the center of the here with respect to center of the Carter, center of the pin. Sorry, center of the pin. Now, see here, this is what I told you in the earlier class. This is the, uniformly varying load in the beam. Now, this is for our understanding. I'm telling that again, repeating here. Now, what is this load? Where this load is acting? At which distance? This is support. Near the support, x by 3. The total distance is x. This is x by 3. This is 2x by 3. Okay, 2x by 3. Hence, the x is here. This is the fork. This is a fork end. Fork end, that's what I told you here. Just I recap here. This is a fork end. A. Okay. This is the fork end. Uniformly varying load. This is what is this? This is our B. Dimension is given B. Just turn to 90 degree. Turn to 90 degree, then the same figure going to come. This is now the pin is acting as a beam. When the pin is tightly fixed with the fork and iron, then only shear. But when the pin is loose condition, then bending is going to be created. Similar to Carter. Now that's what here. Bending force x is equal to 1 by 3a. X is equal to 1 by 3a here. 1 by 3a. Okay, x is equal to here. You may consider x instead of x, you consider a, then a by 3. That's what x is equal to a by 3. What is z here? Z is nothing but center. We already assumed center. Average, right? Now we are considering this is center. The center is nothing but P by 2. From here, this side B by 2. This side B by 2. Okay, B by 2. Now, the Z is, this side the load is acting Z by 2 distance. This side is also load acting Z by 2 distance. What is the Z? Z is average of this. Average of this. B by 2 whole divided by 2. Z is B by 2 whole divided by 2. That's what here is Z. Now, Z is given here. Now, 1 by B by 4. B by 4. Now, come to the bending moment calculation. Now, bending moment with respect to center of the beam. Center of the beam, in that sense, this is the pin. Now the pin is acting as a beam. See here, this is the two support, upward direction. This is maybe you may consider like reaction support. Now this is a downward force is acting here, P by 2, P by 2. Okay, both sides. But this force uniformly acting. Now I am taking this side P by 2, this side. Center, left hand side P by 2, right hand side I consider P by 2, average force. Now, see here, taking bending moment with respect to center. What is the bending moment here? I mean P by 2, see here, P by 2 into, I mean B by 2 plus X, because the support is here. B by 2 plus X distance, okay, B by 2 plus X, right, into minus, this is a downward force. This is a downward force minus P by 2 into Z by 2. Z by, sorry, Z, not Z by 2. Okay, so Z, see here, I mean P by 2 into Z. Now this is the bending moment, I mean with respect to center of the beam, center of the pin. Now X is equal to A by 3, Z is equal to B by 4. Finally simplify this equation, P by 2 into P by 4 plus A by 3, A by 3. Now come to this, our bending stress. Bending stress is nothing but sigma B is equal to My by I, My by I. Here we are using here that our pin is here, circular cross section, then I is equal to pi d power 4 divided by 64, and Y is equal to D by 2. Then substitute this equation. Finally, we are going to get this equation. We are going to get this equation. I mean bending stress is equal to 32 divided by pi d cube into P by 2 into B by 4 plus A by 3. Now here we should know bending stress, permissible bending stress. Then we able to find out what is the B, width of the that will B or A. We able to find it out here. Now, I mean now I come to the tensile failure of the I. Tensile failure of the I. Now, where is the tensile failure of the I? See here, this region. This is the, in this section XX, where it is XX. Yeah, here. Now, see, this is our I end. When the load is acting, this is a tensile. Where is the tensile acting? I tell you here. See here. I come to this free body diagram. You can understand. Now, the I end is subjected to tensile. This region only we are considering here. I end, now I am considering I end subjected to tensile, this region. Okay. Now I end is subject to tensile here. Then what is this area? This is the projection area. Projection area is, what is this projection area? I mean D naught. Sorry, D naught is this dimension. D naught, we know this diameter. D naught minus our pin diameter D into, this is the thickness. Okay, this is the thickness we considered B. This is the thickness we considered B here. See here, this is one. Yeah. Now D naught minus D into T. D naught minus D into T. Then what is the tensile force acting here? P by D naught. P sigma T is equal to P by B into D naught minus D. Then this is the tensile force acting in the I end. Now similarly, we can find out the tensile force acting in the fork end also. Okay. Now one by one we'll see that. Now this is the tensile failure. 6, 7. Yeah, here I missed out. Shear failure of the I. Where is the shear failure? I mean, where is the shear failure? I come to this 3 dimension, you can easily understand. See here, I mean, this region, the pin is going to have shear. We already discussed, but when this region also, that inner surface, this region also going to have a shear. This region, see my cursor, see my pointer here. This region of the I end going to subject to shear, right? This region here, because this region is, I mean, with this region is engaged with this fork. When we are tightly fixed in the cut, a pin is inserted through the hole and tightly fixed, then what will happen? This region going to be shear. This region of the fork, I mean, I end going to be shear. Then what is this region? Because how we are saying that region force is acting here? I tell you that I come to the free body diagram. Now see here, this force, okay, this same force acting in that surface, then we are finding the shear failure in the I end. Yeah, see here. Now 4.2b here, 4.23b, this diagram. Whatever I showed you, whatever I shown earlier, the 3D diagram, the same thing here. What is the dimension? I mean, we know this. This force is acting. Please carefully listen this free body diagram. Only this side. Okay. Then I'm taking only this side only. P by 2. I mean, this is the region. We know already D naught. This is the total diameter D naught minus D. This is the center portion is our pin diameter D. D by 2. D by 2. This is the dimension here. And what is this? I mean, this is the D by 2 into T. Okay. So I mean into B. Sorry, into B. Okay. Then this is a P. This is a two side. Shear is going to have here also. Shear is going to have two side. How it is two side? I show you this from three dimensional view. I mean, whatever shear we are having here. This is region. Similarly, in the bottom region going to have a shear. In the surface, similarly, bottom region going to have a shear. Hence, 2p by 2 into, D minus D naught. D naught minus D by 2. Okay. Yeah. See here. This is our D naught minus D by 2, D naught minus D by 2 into B. This is a two sides going to be shear in the I end. Hence P by 2 into B into D naught minus D by 2. Okay, now I come to the tensile failure of the fork. I mean, what we discussed, first we discussed the axial tensile force in the rods. Second, we discussed about the crushing shear failure in the pin, and crushing failure in the pin with respect to I, crushing failure in the pin with respect to fork. We discussed, right? Then we come to that. I mean, shear failure in the I and crushing failure in the I. Now I am coming to the tensile failure in the fork, tensile shear failure in the fork. What is the tensile failure in the fork? Where is the tensile load is acting here? Here. If free body diagram, I tell you this. This is the tensile force acting. Okay. What is the tensile force? When P by 2 into, this is P by 2A into D naught minus D. Why D naught minus D? Projection area. See this one. D naught. Here this is a region, no? This is the quarter pin diameter D. This is our upper portion here, D naught here, no? I show you. This is a D naught. This is the D naught. Now D naught minus D, the thickness is A. D naught minus D into A. Now this is both side is there. Here also tensile is acting. Here also tensile is acting. Then we have to consider both region. Finally, we have formed the equation P by 2 A into D naught minus D. This is a tensile failure in the fork. Now I come to the last one, shear failure of the fork. Where is the shear failure? Shear failure of the fork also similar to our tensile failure. See here. Shear failure, see the figure, which figure I can suitable to show you. Here, yeah, this is now this is the shear failure in the shear failure of the fork end. Now this is the standard proportions. We are directly going to use to find out the dimension A. This is the thickness of the fork, and this is the width of the thickness of the I end. Okay, this is 1.75 D. This is a D is nothing but diameter of the rod, and D1 is nothing but our pin head diameter D1. Then this is the 1.5 D. Then this is a X, that is 10 mm. Usually we are considering 10 mm, which I mean where it is X here. The distance here, this is X. Okay. Now this is whatever we discuss. I mean the same thing we are going to sequentially how to calculate, how to solve the problem, how to design the knuckle joint based on these steps. Based on this step, first finding the diameter of the rod. Second, finding the D1, I mean enlarged diameter of the fork or eye end. Now this is the thickness of the fork. This is the thickness of the eye end. I mean this is the steps to be followed for designing our knuckle joint. Now this is the for defining the diameter, pin diameter. See here, the pin is subjected to shear, the pin is subjected to bending. Then we have to calculate the bending stress, as well as we know the tau permissible stress. Then from these two relations, this is the D pin diameter, D from the shear stress calculation. Shear stress equation. This is the D from the bending moment equation, bending stress equation. Then which one is higher value we should consider for our diameter of the pin. Okay. Now calculate the dimension of D1 and D0. Okay. Here this also standard assumptions. If suppose the standard assumption given, you can follow the standard assumptions. Otherwise, you can whatever we discussed based on that also you can calculate your dimension of the fork or eye end. Okay, fork or eye end. Now this is the relations that they might have been given from the design data book. The D0 is the outer diameter of the fork, or outer diameter of the eye is D0 is equal to twice the diameter of the pin diameter. D1 is nothing but our pin head diameter 1.5D. Okay, now this is very important. The same thing we followed in the quarter joint. Sigma T is equal to, once we found it the dimensions, then we have to verify our tensile stress, crushing stress, and tau shearing stresses are within the permissible limit or not. Once we have designed or we have found that the dimensions of the knuckle joint, each component's dimensions. Hence, we have to go for the shear stress formula. We know the shear stress formula. We know this crushing stress formula. We know this. Tensile stress. Then substitute here. Find out the stress component: crushing stress, tensile stress, shearing stress. Then again come back to our input given data. The permissible tensile stress, permissible crushing stress, permissible shear stress, either greater than or less than. If these values are less than your permissible limit, then our design is under safe limit. Similarly, this is for eye end. Okay. This is for the component fork. For what we discussed, the same formula we used here, and now I know that P. I know that A, this is whatever we discussed already, A here and B is here, A and B is here. We know all the components, all the design parameters, dimensions, then plug into the equation, then again compare with your permissible stress level. If it is within this permissible stress level, then the component is in safe limit. Okay. Yeah, any doubt? Hello? Okay, this is a simple. Yeah, tell me, Pa.
Time up, sir. 9:30.
Okay, I completed. Just 2 minutes. I complete here. See, this is a table. Whatever we prepared in the quarter joint, similar way. This is a tensile. Where is tensile acting? The tensile acting in the pin rod. Just 1 minute. I complete this. This is the eye end is subjected to tensile. We discussed. Fork end is subjected to tensile. We discussed in the fork top and bottom. Here, this is the two sides. Okay, this is subjected in tensile. Now I come to shear. shear is subjected into pin. Now shear is in fork end, eye end subjected to shear, and fork end they also subjected into shear. We discussed. Okay. Now I come to the crushing. Crushing due to compressive load here. I mean, fork eye end is subjected to compressive, and shear fork end is subjected into crushing. We discussed already. Please, this is briefly keep it all the formula in the one page. You can easily understand. And I mean, this is the finally the quarter is subjected into bending. With the help of the bending stress, we able to find out the diameter of the pin. Sorry, not quarter, pin. Diameter of the pin, knuckle pin. Okay. So we can find out the diameter of the knuckle pin with respect to shear and with respect to bending stress. But which one is maximum value? That should become considered. That should be considered for our design purpose. Okay. So I stop it here. Now there is one more problem is there. We discuss in the next class. There are a couple of problems are there. We discuss in the next class. Then we move to the next content. Okay, guys. I come to that home screen. If you have any doubt, please go ahead. Yeah. Any doubt? Guys, any doubt? Today, 25th, no?
So that is MTech sheet, I guess.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you.